I'm Barnaby Brown. I'm in the Hermes studio in the University of Athens, and I'm playing a reproduction of the Posidonia aulos made by Christos Tertsis. And the reeds are by Robin Howell. They're the same reeds that I was using in the video I recorded just 20 minutes ago, playing the Pidna. And it's absolutely wonderful that you can take the same pair of reeds and they work in the Posidonia, which is late 6th century, in the Pidna, which is late 5th century, in the Megara, which is late 4th century, and in the Elgin, we don't really know, maybe it's 6th century. They all take basically the same reeds. Yes, we can optimize them a little for one pipe or the other, but clearly the same reeds. I have to do very little to just sort of readjust myself, putting them from one aulos to the other. I'm going to practice now two sections that I've composed in an accompaniment for Pindar's 12th Pythian Ode. And I've performed this a number of times now with Steph Connor, and what we did was created, I suppose, tonal contrast between the main sections, which are in the Dorian harmonia, and a few little interludes in the Mixolydian. And this is, if we think of the tetrachord as a T-junction, the Dorian is effectively taking the zeugmenon, or the disjunct root, where there's a tone separating the two tetrachords. And the other turning, which is the ametabolon, or conjunct root, where the two tetrachords touch one another. So the top note of one tetrachord is the bottom note of the other. So that's really all that's going on here. It's a bit like going to the dominant or going to the subdominant. One is a fifth higher and one is a fourth higher. So they have these names. When the two come together, it's called a sistema ametabolon, or unmodulating system, which means it's not really changing key. So, I'll just begin at the beginning. This score is available online at the doublepipes.info website and on the European Music Archaeology website. So, la, that is messy, a Dorian messy, and la is hypaton, the bottom note of that tetrachord. Those are the bounding notes of the lower tetrachord, the T junction, and above it we have the two possible roots. So this is the first enharmonic section where I'm playing quartertones. And I'm just getting that quarter tone by letting the pipe gently release a little. I'm wanting a pure fifth, and then I just move the reed a little bit out of the mouth, so that it gets out of tune, that gives me the quarter tone, and then I push it back in to tune it again. So it's two different colours. So I'm just playing with that quarter tone. First of all, in the disjunct tetrachord, and then in the bass tetrachord. Let's have another go. Oh, now that's not working. So it's not so much a hand movement as a relaxation of the embouchure. Perhaps the combination of both is required. Now I have a little interlude where I'm modulating into the mixolydian. So the tetrachord, instead of going up the disjunct route, I'm going up the conjunct route. Okay, that was a bit rough. I'm going to try and put a bit of polish on that interlude now. So I'm just finding the place on the lip where that fourth is perfectly in tune without any embouchure manipulation. So really I want both those fourths not to require any embouchure movement. So what I did there was I increased the compression, and that brought the fourth into tune. So that's just embouchure musculature. Haha, yes. Okay, so it works there. There's a little bit more pressing, more compression, and that sorts it out. And also a more refined tone. I love playing, sort of swapping the note between the two pipes. A clean grace note there. So it's a grace note and then a tap. whole of that interlude now. I seem to lose the intonation. I'll have another go. And I'm not happy with the tone on that top note. I want it to be sweeter, not a bit kind of raucous. Beautiful sound it should be. Well, I was quite happy with that. Yes, if only I could play it like that every time. Okay, so what I've done is I've tied a little piece of leather around the bottom hole in order to produce the Dorian and Mixolydian unmodulating system. And now I'm going to open that bottom hole, and on the high pipe 2, same thing, and it's so much nicer than using beeswax. I can't believe I didn't do this years earlier. A little leather strap, just with a reef knot on the back, is what I'm doing. And now with them open, I'm just going to do my favourite little heretical discovery, which is going round a circle of fifths in 7 steps. And just see how this, it's great to have so many different workshops and aulos makers all making the same instruments, because we learn so much by playing different reproductions. Let's say I suppose it's independent scientific testing. When you publish your results fully, somebody else can run the experiment, and if you get the same results, then you really know you've got somewhere. That's what's happening at the moment. Some of these instruments have been measured by different people. They've both published good measurements and good photographs, and so if you have 2 independent makers reproducing using different measurements, and you end up with the same result, then you really have got somewhere. It took me a long time to get that one in tune. Let's try and get it a little bit quicker. Back to where I started. I'll try again. Oh. So I do a little nifty maneuver there. I sharpen the high pipe a little bit and I flatten the low pipe a little bit. Okay, so I'm doing this straight, no vibrato, nothing to really expose the intonation. But I think in real life a little bit of vibrato would cover up the fact that you're having to negotiate about 14 cents at each step as you go around the cycle of fifths. On the piano in equal temperament, you only have to, there's a little discrepancy of 2 cents. Okay, 2 cents is really not a lot. When you go around an equiheptatonic circle of fifths, you've got a 14 cent slippage at every step. Which on a lyre would be impossible, but on an aulos, there's so much, it's so easy to slip by 14 cents. Or I suppose what I'm doing is I'm wanting to flatten the low pipe by 7 cents and sharpen the high pipe by 7 cents to sort of split the difference. Getting better. So that is going round the circle of fifths, but instead of taking 12 steps, taking 7. And that, I think, is what Ptolemy was, I suppose, had received a kind of understanding that having 12 keys just wasn't right. There were 7 keys. And he didn't get the right answer. I mean, it was a very clever and a very brilliant answer, but I think what he was actually getting at was a memory that in the 6th century, for things like the Trimeles Nomos, a particular competition piece where they would modulate from the Dorian to the Phrygian to the Lydian. And that kind of modulation is very easy when you go around a circle of 7 fifths.